Are you ready to seriously work your core? Good, because we are going to do the advanced ab series of 5. Hey everybody, welcome back. Welcome to my channel. My name's Linda. I am the owner of Pilates for Real Bodies, an online mat Pilates studio. And in this video, we are going to take the traditional mat Pilates ab series of 5 and make it advanced. We're going to make it harder. If you're not familiar with my cueing on the series of 5, the traditional version, you definitely want to check out that video first before doing this one, because you want to get those foundational moves really solid before you start doing the advanced version. Before we get into the video itself, please be sure to subscribe to my channel. You will find lots of Pilates information on my channel. You can find workouts that are 15 to 20 minutes. You can find Pilates technique videos. And I also have videos on just general health and wellness to keep you as healthy as you possibly can be. This is how the video is going to go. I'm going to show you each exercise. We're going to walk through it. I'm going to tell you how to do it. I'm going to tell you things to watch out for. And then after I explain all 5 of them, we are going to do all of them together. Now, in typical Pilates fashion, we only do each one 5 times. But in this series of 5, we actually do a little bit more of do it on the right side, then do it on the left side, or do it one way and then do it the opposite direction. So it's longer than the regular traditional series of 5. A little warning there. And as usual, you can have your head up, you can have your head down. Depending on what feels most comfortable for you, you can do all of the exercises with your hands behind your head, supporting your head with your head up. If you're going to have your head up and you're going to have your hands behind your head, then one thing I want you to be thinking about is that you are supporting your head, but you're not holding it forward and pushing it forward. So the looking at your belly button is happening from your head naturally, and your hands are just there to support the weight. So that's super important that you're not wrenching the head forward with your arms, and that you keep those elbows back as far as you can. Typically, I don't vary the traditional exercises because that's kind of the point of traditional, is that you're doing it the same way every single time. So that way you can see yourself improve over time. And because that's the way Joseph Pilates created it, and God forbid he came back from the grave to tell me that I was doing it wrong. But what's nice about this is it just gives you something different to do, and they're all inside of the Pilates principles. We're still only doing a few of each one, well, specifically 5 of them. We are still doing them slowly and with focus. Okay, we're going to do them in a controlled way. And we are still using our proprioception. So all of those Pilates principles that I talked about in another video, which you can check out, I have the link at the top of the screen. All of those Pilates principles, they still apply. Okay, so we're not veering off of the traditional Pilates path too far. Okay, let's get started with the advanced version of single leg stretch. If you're familiar, looks like this. Well, you should be familiar because I just told you, you don't want to do this without knowing the original movements. That's single leg stretch. So how are we going to make a difference? What you're going to do is you're going to take one leg, take it out just like single leg stretch looks like. But this top leg, instead of it being close to your chest, you're going to push it away from you. My core is so activated because I have so much more weight on the other side of my core. So then you're going to start with your head up, and you're going to take it down and up and down and up. Okay. And then after 5, we're going to switch. All right. That is an advanced version of single leg stretch. Some things to think about. First, you want to keep your legs nice and solid. Don't let them lift and lower as you're lifting and lowering your head. And when you're doing your crunch, You want to watch that you don't lift the rib cage up and then push it into the floor, and lift it up and push it into the floor. Something that people will do when they do a crunch is they kind of lift here and lift here. And that's a really bad habit, because what you're doing is when you lift this way, you're releasing your core muscles. Because in order to do that, you have to stretch. So instead, I want you to really focus on keeping that scoop and imprint. And then you're just tapping. Tap. Tap. And when you lift your head, you got to look at the belly button. Don't look at the ceiling. Okay? These are all the same cues that I gave you before. So like I said, we're still staying inside of traditional Pilates principles and practices, right? Look at your belly button, stay scooped and imprinted, keep your legs solid. The next one is double leg stretch. So double leg stretch, as you are very familiar, okay, for the double leg stretch. You can have your hands behind your head, or you can have the arms up here, all right, with your head up. I'm just gonna have them on the floor just for right now. You're gonna have your legs up to the ceiling. You're gonna drop the legs toward the floor, bring the knees in, so a big circle. And then of course, after 5 of those, you're gonna go backwards. So what it looks like, and then the other direction. If you want to make it fancy, you can make it fancy. That takes some serious coordination. So you can do that too. Again, hands behind the head, arms just at your sides. What are we watching for here? You are definitely watching for keeping your back on the mat as you drop the legs and as you kick the legs away. So if you notice that when you drop them or when you kick them away, your spine is coming up off the floor, don't kick them out so high, or excuse me, so low, or don't drop them too low. Okay, you've got to keep that in control. What are you then thinking about? You're thinking about your low back. You're thinking less about your legs. The legs need to stay together and strong the entire time. They should not be separated. They should not be shifting. And then lastly, eyes looking at your belly button. Especially when it's new, you're going to want to look at your feet, because we have this tendency to want to see what our feet are doing, but the feet are not giving you any new information. Okay, it's all happening in the legs, and you're just making a big circle. You're thinking about your spine, eyes on your belly button. The third movement in our series of 5 is single straight leg stretch. This is by far the hardest one. Everybody says it, not just me. Single leg stretch, the way we know it traditionally, is right here, which is nice because we have a little way to kind of hold our head up because we're pulling with our arms. Okay, we got none of that happening in this version of single leg stretch. In this version, you're going to have one leg up in the ceiling and one leg down. Now, I'm going to take this leg down all the way to the floor just to make this easier for me to teach you, but it's not how we're going to do it. You're going to have this leg up, and you're going to make small circles, 5 in one direction and 5 in the other direction. But wait, that looks so easy. What is the rest of the body doing? Right here. Then the other direction, then you switch, and 5, and then 5 the other way. All right, now what are we thinking about here? Absolutely have to be looking at your belly button. You are not looking at the ceiling. You can move your leg and you can count the movement at the same time. That's all proprioception, by the way. So your leg is moving, you're thinking how many times you're moving the leg, but you're not actually looking at your leg or your foot. So you're looking at your belly button, and then you want to have the rest of your body as still as possible so you're not rocking in those hips. That bottom leg can be as low as you want. It can be up here. It could be all the way down here. It's really what works for you. It's going to depend on flexibility and core strength. So you pick the level of that low leg. You really want those elbows back as far as you can. Try not to let them creep forward. So that is single straight leg stretch, harder than the other version. So now let's move to double straight leg stretch. In double straight leg stretch, we're dropping the legs down as far as we can. Hands are thankfully behind the head at this point. Taking them down, taking them up, looking at our belly button. This one, we're just adding a hold, 3 holds, okay? So you're gonna take the legs down as far as you can, and then a little further, and then a little further, and take them up, and we're gonna do that 5 times. Now, even if you're someone who can take your legs down all the way to the floor, I suggest taking them not quite as far down. And then you can take them down a little further and take them down to as low as you can go and then lift up. If you're like me and your legs only go to maybe 45 degrees, try to push it so that you can get a little bit further, and then lift the legs up. Again, making sure you're not lifting that low back up off the floor. And then crisscross, very similar to what we're already doing. Crisscross being here. So instead of the bent knee, you're going to take one leg up and you're going to twist here. Makes it a little bit harder with that leg up high, more range of motion, more pull on the core because the leg is straight up instead of the knee bent. And you want to make sure you still are reaching with your collarbones, not your elbows. That's a really important point that if you're not sure about, you can go back to my ab series of 5, look at crisscross because it's super important coaching. You want to make sure you're twisting up in the top and not pulling your body down towards your leg. Are you ready? Because we're going to do all of it together. The difference between this and the other, the traditional version, is that I take breaks in between each one of these because they are exponentially harder than the other one. But the breaks are not long. They're like 2 or 3 breaths, and then we're just going to go right into the next one. Okay, so let's get to it. Hands behind the head, elbows back. Lift the head up, bring the knees in. Take one leg out, take the other leg out further, and give me 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, and switch. Pull that core in. Look at the belly button, not the feet. 3, 2, 1. And relax. Legs come up to the ceiling, hands come behind your head. Looking at your belly button, drop the legs, bring the knees in. Big circles. Breathe in, breathe out. Other direction. And take a moment. Legs come up to the ceiling. Hands come up, elbows back, drop one leg, and circle 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Other way. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Other way. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, I'm glad that's over. Okay, next one. Head is up. Take both legs down, then down a little further, bring them up. Take them down a little further, and take them up. Take them down. Last one. And relax. Last set. Crisscross. Drop one leg, other leg stays up, and twist, twist. Elbow back. Don't rock side to side. And relax and stretch. Okay. And there you go. That is our advanced series of 5. Oh my God. I am so interested in what you think of this series. If you think it's challenging, if there's some other thing that you do, I'd love to hear about it. I want to know what you think. Thank you so much for being here, watching this video, and I'll see you next time.